All right, let's dive right into another deep dive. We're tackling a real doozy today, the case in Arizona county level, where the treasurer is accused of, well, let's just say some serious financial shenanigans.
Yeah, this one's got it all. Suspicious wire transfers, cover-ups, you name it. Like ripped from a movie, except it's real taxpayer money we're talking about.
And that's where this deep dive gets interesting. We're not just talking about numbers on a spreadsheet, but the real world impact of this alleged scheme. So picture this. April 2024, Santa Cruz County, Arizona. JP Morgan Chase Bank, they noticed some unusual activities, some wire transfers coming from the county treasurer's office that just don't sit right.
And not just a small amount either. We're talking $4.55 million wired straight to business accounts linked to the treasurer herself.
Red flag city, right?
Yeah, huge red flag. It's what these anti-money laundering systems are designed to catch.
So naturally, the county jumps into action, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they shut down her access, and she ends up resigning. You might think case closed, but not so fast.
Not even close. This is where the Auditor General steps in, the financial watchdog, to see what's really going on.
And what they found was way bigger than anyone could have imagined.
It's like opening a closet and finding a whole other room back there.
Exactly. According to their report, we're talking about at least 182 unauthorized wire transfers over a 10-year period, totaling a mind-blowing $39,472,100.
Okay, hold on a second. We're throwing around a lot of numbers here, but before we get lost in the millions, let's take a step back. For those of us who aren't financial wizards, what does a county treasurer actually do?
Good point. It's easy to gloss over that.
Yeah.
Basically, they're the guardians of all those tax dollars, your property taxes, the money that funds schools, parks, you name it. It's a huge responsibility.
So, in a way, they're managing the county's piggy bank, and in this case, someone allegedly decided to dip into the cookie jar, and not just for a couple of cookies, but the whole darn jar.
That's one way to put it. And the fact that this went on for so long, it really makes you wonder how it slipped past everyone's radar. That's what we're going to dig into. How did this happen, and what can we learn from it?
And that's why the story matters. It's about more than just missing money. It's about trust, accountability, and how easily systems can be manipulated, even at the local level. All right, so we've got a county treasurer allegedly siphoning off millions. The question is how? How do you even begin to move that kind of money without anyone noticing?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting and, frankly, a little unsettling. Remember those 182 wire transfers we mentioned?
Yeah, hard to forget a number like that.
Right. So those transfers came from two specific accounts that, get this, required dual authorization for any transaction.
Dual authorization. You mean like two people need to sign off on it? Seems like a smart safeguard, right?
Exactly. It's like a safety net, an extra layer of security. But here's the thing. According to the report, the treasurer allegedly found a way around it.
Oh, come on. How do you even do that? Hack the system.
Nope, much simpler and, in a way, more audacious. She convinced her deputy to share their login credentials.
Seriously. So all it took was a little smooth talking, maybe a little pressure, to bypass a system designed to prevent exactly this kind of thing.
It seems that way. And this is where the human element comes in. We can build the most secure systems in the world, but they're only as strong as the people using them. And unfortunately, there's always the potential for manipulation, coercion, bad judgment.
It's like they say the weakest link is often the human one. But this whole thing with the deputy, it makes you wonder if there was something more going on, something that might have influenced their decision.
Well, the report does mention that several employees received what they called financial help, or gifts from the treasurer.
Okay, now that's just adding fuel to the fire. We're talking potential conflicts of interest, a culture of fear, maybe even obligation. Suddenly, this doesn't seem like just a case of bad accounting, but a deliberate attempt to create a system where people were afraid to speak up.
Exactly, and that's where those falsified reports come in. Remember we were talking about the treasurer's reports and the cash reconciliation reports?
Yeah, the ones that are supposed to show where all the money is going.
Right. Well, according to the report, she allegedly falsified at least 121 treasurer's reports, conveniently leaving out those unauthorized wire transfers. And as if that wasn't enough, she allegedly falsified at least 76 cash reconciliation reports to cover her tracks even further.
Wait, so she's cooking the books on multiple levels. It's like creating a financial mirage, making everything look normal when it's anything but.
Exactly. And she didn't stop there. The report claims she went as far as creating a fake UBS ShareFile account to make it seem like those missing millions were actually invested somewhere.
A fake investment account. Now that takes some serious guts, not to mention a whole lot of confidence that she wouldn't get caught. But here's the thing that's been bugging me. How did this go unnoticed for so long? I mean, weren't there any red flags, any alarm bells going off?
Yeah.
Someone must have seen something, right? It's like that saying, hiding in plain sight. But seriously, how could this slip through the cracks for a decade? You'd think someone would have noticed something is off.
Right. And that's what the Auditor General's report really hones in on. Those missed opportunities, the cracks in the system that allowed this to go on for so long. It's kind of a perfect storm of oversights.
Okay, so walk me through these vulnerabilities. What were the biggest factors?
Well, for starters, the report found a major lack of scrutiny when it came to those financial reports. The treasurer submitted them, sure, but it doesn't seem like anyone was really, looking at them.
Wait, hold on. They were just filing these reports away without actually checking the numbers?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. No one at the county, not even the Board of Supervisors, seems to have been reviewing them effectively. Big oversight.
Okay, that's a big one. But what about external audits? Didn't those catch anything?
That's another layer. See, the external audits, they relied on information provided by, you guessed it, the treasurer's office. Information that we now know was potentially compromised.
So it's like asking the fox to investigate what happened in the hen house. You're
Yeah.
not going to get the full story.
Exactly. A classic case of misplaced trust. And it gets worse. The county treasurer's office was using a really outdated accounting system, one that automatically deleted detailed transaction data every single month.
So even if someone had a hunch and wanted to go back and check, the data was gone. That's like trying to solve a crime, but the security footage gets erased every day.
Exactly. It made it incredibly difficult to track those unauthorized wire transfers. And if that wasn't bad enough, the Auditor General didn't actually have the power to get bank records independently. They had to rely on the Treasurer's office, the very people they were auditing, to hand those over.
So the watchdog was basically defanged. It's no wonder this went on for so long. But okay, that's the bad news. What about solutions? What needs to change to prevent something like this from happening again?
Well, the good news is the Auditor General's report isn't just about pointing fingers. It lays out some really concrete steps to prevent this from happening again. For one thing, they recommend much stronger IT controls. Think multi-factor authentication, robust password policies, the works.
So basically, bringing their tech security into the 21st century. Makes sense.
Exactly. No more sharing logins or using outdated systems that wipe out crucial data. They also recommend something called segregation of duties, which means no single person has control over all parts of a financial process. Checks and balances.
Love that idea. More eyes on the money, less chance for someone to pull a fast one. What else?
They also recommend daily transaction recording, independent reconciliations, and more frequent audits, even surprise ones.
Love the element of surprise. Makes it much harder for someone to hide their tracks when they don't know the auditors are coming.
Right. And this is a big one. Giving the Auditor General direct access to government bank records. No more having to ask for permission to see what's going on.
About time, right. Give the watchdog some teeth.
Exactly. And last but not least, mandatory training for anyone in a position of financial authority, focusing on ethics, internal controls, the whole 9 yards.
No more pleading ignorance. You're in charge of public funds. You better know what you're doing and what the consequences are if you don't. This whole case, it really underscores how crucial transparency and oversight are, especially when it comes to taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that trust is essential, but it's not enough. We need solid systems in place and vigilance in making sure those systems are working.
And that's a wrap on this Dip Dive. It's been a wild ride through the world of financial forensics, but hopefully it's also been a wake-up call. To our listeners out there, stay curious, stay informed, and if something doesn't seem right, don't be afraid to ask questions. Until next time, stay vigilant.